Obviously, this loss hurts. Anytime you lose the last game of the season and you played so well, and obviously losing to your in-state rival as well too burns a little bit more. But I thought for about 60 minutes here in this SEC tournament that we showed how good that we can be and how bright our future is. I think once we get some depth in our program and we get some guys with a little bit more of a maturation process, freshmen becoming sophomores becoming juniors, I think you can see that we got a lot of talent in this program. We just needed some stability as far as like depth. I thought a couple things in that game against Ole Miss. First of all, us shooting 17% in the second half. I knew we would come down to earth a tad bit in the second half with our shooting performance, but I just didn't think it was be that precipitous of a drop. Then the last thing is we just didn't guard the two best players. Marshall Henderson got loose on us way too much at the three-point line, and Jarvis Summers is just a really good player. He never gets sped up. He's got a poise to him and just knows how to attack the basketball. But I'm really proud of the way our guys competed. We just kind of ran out of steam there in the second half.
Question for either of the student athletes. If you raise your hand, let's start right in the front.
Fred, earlier in the second half, you went out of the game. Did you cramp up or did you have a leg problem or something like that earlier?
Yes, sir. Like before we came here, I had sprained my ankle. And, I think on one of the ball screen plays, I got kind of tripped up and I slipped on somebody's shoe and twisted again. And I had just got retaped.
Question in the back.
Fred, you have one of the most challenging, I guess challenges of the night, just having to guard Marshall and chase him around all around the court. But was fatigue really a factor for you in the second half, having to do all that for the entire game?
No, sir. I really don't get tired. It's just like my ankle. It was really killing me. I heard it 2 times, but I was just trying to fight through it.
Other question for either student athletes? Same in the back.
Chicken, you've got I guess, been the leading scorer for this team the last couple of years. I guess probably assume more of a leadership role next year, being a third-year guy. What do you have to do in this offseason to kind of motivate the rest of these guys to get them through some of these summer workouts and things like that?
Well, for myself, I got to cut down on my turnovers. Like, I came down today and ain't had a good passing game today. Also, in the offseason, I got to work on my ball handling. For my team, we got to just work on being together and finishing game.
Other questions? Go ahead.
For both of you guys, just in the offseason, just getting this win last night and then playing well in the first half, what does this do to motivate you guys going into the offseason, getting ready for next year when you actually have more depth and more bodies to work with?
Craig, would you take that first?
Say it again, my bad.
Just talk about what you got to do in the offseason to get ready for next year.
Well, we're gonna come in out of the individual workouts every day and just get better. Every individual got to get better every day.
The same for Fred.
I feel like we just need to come together. If we come together, y'all see what we can do. But like when we like go apart, spread apart from each other, it's like we go downhill. But like if we come together, we can be one of the best teams in the SEC.
Hands up. Other questions for either?
First and foremost, you can see that you come into a situation in the SEC tournament when you're on that losing streak, and our guys having the ability to like look past that and get ready for the game ahead. I think a lot of teams would have just folded to 10 and not came in here to the SEC tournament and competed. I think a lot of teams would have just packed it up and, hey, let's get ready for spring break. And that's the one thing that you look at as a positive for this team is like what we can do and what we're capable of. So just our guys' fortitude, and I know you don't see this every day in practice, and a lot of times everybody wants to see results and just wins and losses, but I did see it every day in our practice. Our team's never quitting. Our team's not playing hard, and that's when you concern yourself with what's going on. If your team is not playing hard in practice and you don't feel like you're competing in practice, then you know you're not going to do it in the game and you don't have the chance. So just the fact that our guys had a fortitude to stick with it and continue to compete, I think it bodes well for our future.
Other questions for Coach Ray? Anyone? Raise your hand. Okay, on the right side.
Rick, you've said a couple of times this season that you guys aren't a good shooting team. The offense isn't your strength, but in the first 3 halves, you guys shot about 58% from the field. What was going well for you?
Well, I think first and foremost, our guys shared the basketball. I think it's sometimes we're such a good ball handling team as far as penetrating and kicking and make plays happen that we get caught up and kind of get sucked into the paint. I think what our guys did more so than anything, I thought they passed the ball before they attacked. And once we passed the ball before we attacked, I think we got a lot better open looks for our guys. And I think the other thing that we talked about is like Fred Thomas just maturing into the fact that he's played 4 or 5 ball games. That's who Fred Thomas really is, and that's who he could be. But I think sometimes what happens is guys lose their confidence. And you got to keep in mind, these guys are still young basketball players. And so we're relying on freshmen and sophomores these past year to really be the cowbell for our guys. And what we got to make sure that we do now is understand, and we have juniors and seniors in our program. Those guys are going to be really good players, and they're really going to be guys that we can rely on in the future.
Okay, question in the middle.
You said earlier this week